What's up, y'all? Welcome to the Sam the Beard Guy channel. So today we are talking about my favorite felt pianos for this year coming up. I just did a video on my favorite grands, and of course I got a lot of what about this one, what about this one, what about this one. I try to have as many as I can, but I don't have all of them. But we're going to be doing the same thing with felts today. These are the felts that I own, that I just love, and that I find myself using a lot of. We've got down the road, and then we've got more creative, adventurous stuff. But I'm doing 5. My top 5 grands. There seems to be a lot more grand options, fewer felt options, so I'm just shrinking that list down to the top 5. And then, of course, anytime you put top 5 into the algorithm or in the title of a video, you know, it helps. So, top 5 piano libraries felt for this year. If y'all don't know this, I launched my Patreon, link in description, and then just liking, sharing, comment, subbing, all the things for this channel. It's very helpful. I'm very grateful for all the support y'all show me. So, let's hop in. I'll go ahead and tell y'all what those 5 are. It's Keyscape, the Olafur Arnalds Spitfire piano, the Postfelt, the Noire Felt, and the Corda Felt. These are the ones that I find myself using more than anything. And so, you know, if you've watched this channel at all, you know the deal with Keyscape. I freaking love it. There's tons of great presets in here. They finally released a felt last year, which was one of my biggest complaints with Keyscape, and now they have a felt, which is freaking awesome. So I just have the normal felt preset pulled up here. I turned off the reverb so I could use my own Valhalla. There technically is a dry setting, but I just pulled this up. And then your basic settings, you know, Keyscape doesn't offer a ton of settings to tweak, and that's part of the appeal, is it's much more of a plug and play type of library with the bajillion different things. But we're not talking about that. We're just talking about the felt. And so just like I did with my grand video, I'm just going to play through these, you know, noodle for a good 3 to 5 minutes on each one of them, let y'all hear it. And then, yeah, thanks for watching. Yeah, so Keyscape Felt is great. I love it. Um, it, one thing that I've noticed about it is it's great on its own. It has a harder time fitting into a mix just because there's so much of that low kind of boominess to it. And so it either needs really delicate care and detail to get it to fit into a mix. But if you're doing a solo thing, this thing is freaking awesome. I can't remember if I did my album on this or the Noire. I do not remember. I think I went back and forth, and I don't remember where I landed. But yeah, I love this thing. There's a reason this is in my top 5. And so, yeah, let's move on to the Olafur Arnalds piano. All right, so Olafur Arnalds piano, I freaking love this thing. It's real basic, real bare bones. It comes with a mic's, instrument and then a mixed instrument. I'm just going to be playing the mic'd one because I use that one, honestly, just as much as the other one. But I'm just going to play this one. They're both very similar, the two instruments you get with this. It does come with a lot of other stuff like pads and synths and stuff, which are actually really cool. I've used those. I use one of the pads in every single worship set I play, and then I've used some of the other synths in some projects recently. And so this is an all-around great library. I was super stoked when they sent it to me. This thing just... It just has this way of like... it puts you in the piano, like the Keyscape is really boomy, but it has a ton of like high end to it still. This is just super, just not low, but All right, so the Olafur, I mean, this thing is just awesome. I freaking love it. Dude, felts are just, they're so inspiring to me. Just the way my brain and mind and heart works, like felts just take me somewhere. I freaking love them. So that's the Olafur Arnalds. You know, I'll compare these as I go. I'll say that compared to Keyscape, they're kind of in the same category. Keyscape feels like big felt. This feels smaller. They have the same kind of tonal vibe. This one has a little bit less kind of top end. It's almost like the felt itself has been rolled off or something. But this is just a smaller, almost more intimate version of a felt. So I've used these both equally for tons of different things. And so I love this guy. Let's move on to the Postfelt. All right, so the Postfelt is probably the most recent felt that I own. You know, this one's definitely a unique library. I love it. I do have a few gripes with it, and I know that they just released a actual contact version of this, and so this might have been fixed. But one of my biggest complaints was the default patch comes in with all these effects. You kind of have to build your own base layer, which I don't love, because it's hard for me to wrap my head around the actual way they want this library represented without any effects on it. And so I kind of have to build my own. So this is my best guess. I think I'm close. You know, I've got some body. You can, you know, do that. So you can just kind of make up where you think that needs to be. But I love this thing. It's a lot different than the Spitfire Olafur thing in Keyscape. It has a more, this is going to make no sense, so take it for what it is. The way it feels to me is like more woody. And that's ridiculous because I don't even know what that means, but that's like what I am thinking when I'm playing. It just feels like there's more wood, which, yeah. So it feels, I don't even know how to describe. It feels like just more of the enclosure is involved. Again, that makes no sense. That's just, that's how it kind of makes me feel. I mean, these libraries are like when you do a wine tasting and it's like, what do you feel? And it's like, well, I taste chocolate. And it's like, well, no, it's fruity. It's like, well, you can't tell me that I'm wrong because this is my own experience. I taste chocolate. It's like, okay, well, this is like a strawberry wine. It's like, no, but I taste chocolate. Like, prove to me that I'm tasting something different. So that's kind of what this is like. This is just how it makes me feel. Maybe as soon as I stop recording, I'll think of the actual word. But this one's, I think, a little bit more nuanced than Keyscape and Spitfire. So this is probably harder to use in a more general sense, but I have used this for a few things. One of the complaints when I did a review for this library, some of the complaints that people had was it didn't seem like there's enough sample depth and velocity depth, which I think is somewhat true, but that doesn't matter in all circumstances. And so it just depends on how you're recording. If you're doing a solo piano album and you need the full spectrum, then sure. But if you're like tucking this into a mix or playing real simple stuff, that isn't as big of a deal. I know that, the nerds of the world or the purists are maybe going to be bothered by that. But just because it doesn't have that amount of depth doesn't mean that this doesn't have a usage, because I love the way this thing sounds. And so, let's just play through it. Yeah, so I love the way that sounds. Again, it's probably more nuanced than the Keyscape and the Olafur Arnalds one. But in a way, all felts are nuanced because, I mean, it's a felt. So that's the Postfelt. I love this thing. Let's move on to the Noire Felt. All right, so the Noire Felt, again, I'm a huge fan of Noire. I just reviewed the Noire Pure in my video that I posted earlier this week. Noire Felt is just great. I would say it's, of all the pianos I'm reviewing, it's probably the least felty to me of all the felts, which is actually really helpful. Sometimes it's like, hey, we're going to be a felt piano, and it's just full send felt. This is helpful in that it's not that way, because this is how it comes in default without these. So you could load that up. You're getting just a tinge of a different feel that you could call felt. I'm turning the noises on just to kind of exaggerate more. Yeah. So, man, again, sounds great. This one feels like the most closest to a piano with just felt elements in it. And so that's really helpful. I use this quite a bit live because you're trying to fit it into a mix. Also, in a live setting, sound engineers don't get all the full nuanced time that you would get in a studio mixing to really get this to poke out if it was a full-on felt like Keyscape or something like that. And so I use this all the time live. I use this all the time in big mixes. Well, not big mixes, because you wouldn't have this in a big mix. But if there's band in, I'm gravitating towards using this, just because it's a little less full send on the felt part of it. But man, it feels amazing, just like all the other ones that we've played today. So that is number 4 on my list, not ranked, just number 4. And then the next one, let's get into the Una Corda. All right, so the Una Corda piano, I would say of the 5 that we're doing today, this one is probably the most, I would throw into the creative category of, I'm probably using this one the least because of the way it sounds, but that's kind of the vibe of it. Like, they're not missing. This is just the vibe of this instrument. It's a little bit more unique. It's a little bit more creative. It has a real... like a glassy feel. Like, it kind of has a... I don't know. This picture makes me think glass ice or something. Now, granted, there's a lot of things you can get in here and tweak. So you can even throw the fabric in to get more of a felt. Get those harmonics in. So there's a lot of stuff you can do. You can even, really just, I like that you have the pedal volume settings. Not everyone has that. So, it's definitely more unique and different. And so I don't use this a ton, but if I need something kind of outside the box in the felt world, I might come to this. And so... yeah, so that's the Corda Felt. Again, it's a lot different, and I know you could probably get in here and tweak some of these settings and get it probably closer to some of the other felts we've done, but also it kind of lives in this space of just a little bit of that creative, tinge to it that kind of boxes it out of a lot of stuff. But if you're like in a creative atmosphere where you're like, I need a really interesting felt, I'm going to this often. You could also pull up a Noire or a Spitfire, an Olafur Arnalds, and do some cool reverb and shimmer and different things. But this one kind of comes out of the box like that. And so that is my top 5 felt pianos. Again, in no order. They all have their own uses. Hopefully I articulated that well. But they all kind of have their own thing that they do that I use in different settings. So thank you all for watching, and I'll see you all later.